sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Everything OG in the house. My man's B-Dub Building Block in the house.
What up?
Deviant the Digger and Mr. Everything OG is in the house.
Yo, today we got something special and epic planned for you.
Yes, sir.
No holds barred. We are going in on hip-hop's biggest debate.
Well, one of the biggest debates.
No, the biggest.
You think it's the biggest debate?
The biggest. Which LP is greater? A Tribe Called Quest, a Low End Theory, or
Midnight Marauders?
And we're going to go in and examine these albums by going through the samples that they used. And hopefully at the end we can sort of come to a clear conclusion. You be the listeners, you be the watchers and viewers, you decide. I'm going to say this. From the moment I heard Low End Theory, I was in love. That album right there took whatever they started from
First album,
People's Distinctive Travel in the Path of Rhythm, and just elevated. That year they came out, nothing was touching it. When Midnight Marauders came out, they came out in the midst of some very influential records. You had Wu-Tang holding shit down. You had Black Moon stomping shit out. You had Illmatic.
That was a year later.
Was it a year later?
That was 94.
Well, we had the bootleg though. The bootleg came out in 93 from the cassette. You might have had the
the album came out in 94.
94, but we had the cassette back in 93.
Okay.
Rocking, so I'm just going from that. You had Doggy Style, Snoop.
That's true.
And then in the midst, you got the Midnight Marauders. And for me, personally, it didn't fit. My first impressions upon listening to that record, like, this is hip-hop elevator music. Now, granted, I did not like the first single, War Tour. I thought it was trash. I did like...
Blasphemy.
I did like Oh My God. I did like a few of the other joints on there, but my overall impression of the record, I was disappointed, and I thought it was whack. In my older age, I've come to relent a little, and I don't view it as entirely whack. But at the time when it came out, yeah, it was whack. Now that I'm older and it can be enjoyed without the, the date and everything else around it coming in and just listen on, there's some good moments on there.
Incredible moments on there. I think the album
Here it comes with the hyperbole.
It's a masterpiece, of course, and I just thought that they actually elevated, not decreased, but elevated from Low End Theory. I thought Low End Theory was an amazing album, and it's tough. It's close, no doubt about it. I give you that. But I thought that they elevated from Low End Theory because if you look at Low End Theory, it was mostly like upright bass lines, and then they went to straight up more musical loops and more melodic samples, and I thought that was dope. So, without further ado, let's get right.
Well.
Hold on, okay.
With Low End Theory, it was they took that jazz and ran with it.
True.
And you'll see acts like Diggable Planets that come. They took that Tribe Called Quest formula
and ran with it.
That jazz sample, and they ran with it. So I would say, even though Gangstar was the first to maybe be labeled jazz rap, Tribe Called Quest took that on Low End Theory and blasted. I can see in trying to reinvent themselves, they didn't want to get stuck with that, so they let the jazz go and they went eclectic. That I would say from their first LP, they were just, hey, we're not messing with ultimate breaks and beats. Bow. We're like a continuation of the Jungle Brothers meets the De La Soul.
True.
With Tribe Called Quest.
Very true.
Then they came out with their own identity with Low End Theory. Then I would say they wanted to switch the game up, similar to what De La Soul tried to do with De La's Dead. Tribe Called Quest did
do.
Perfected, changing the image and making people accept it with Midnight Marauders.
True.
However, it was a whack-ass album.
I disagree.
And
we're
like
gonna
you said,
prove that today.
We're gonna examine our favorite sample flips from that album,
Yes,
from our
sir.
respective albums.
Yes, sir.
And at the end, like we said, you decide.
Well, Mr. B-Dub, I'm gonna let you
I'll
rock
let you go
out.
first.
No, well, Low End Theory was first. So
but
Low End Theory was first.
I did the intro and I spoke a lot. They tired of hearing my voice. Go ahead.
Well,
man.
Even though Low End Theory came out first in 91 and Midnight Marauders came out first in 93, you can't have a Midnight Marauder debate, my man, Mr. B-Dub.
Start with the first single.
Exactly. I'm going to go with the first single first, the one you didn't like. You know what I'm saying? This is Weldon Irvine right here. Bam. Yes, sir. Spirit Man, and the song that they used on the Spirit Man album, We Be Getting Down, for a word tour. It's the main sample that they rap on that Q-Tip actually flipped out. You know, he flipped, he chopped up. It was that dun dun dun. Dun, dun, dun,
yeah, the aggravating ass
dun,
shit.
dun, dun.
That's the most aggravating sample in the world.
Please.
I hate it.
So he used that sample, and that sample comes in almost at the very end of the song. Like it's later on in the cut, We Getting Down. So he just listened to the whole song and like cut that little clip. So props to Q-Tip on that. And then it was ill because he actually came out with this song for the breakdown. Was this Milt Jackson Olinga?
I did like that part.
Vibe sample that he used.
I did like that part.
He used that for the breakdown part.
The bridge, yeah, I did like that.
Yeah, basically. And then for the hook, back in the 90s, a lot of especially New York producers, they were using, whenever they would do their hip-hop production, they kind of like wanted you to know that a chorus was coming in.
Yeah.
So they would put a sound on whatever was supposed to be the hook part.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody was doing that. Primo, or everybody. P-Rock, everybody did that.
Professor.
So, you know, Q-Tip, you know, he stuck with the New York formula of doing that. And he used this for the hook. The sound on the hook is Charles Erland, Charles III. You know what I'm saying? And that's the little that you hear on the hook as True Boy the Dove does the hook for the song.
That whack-ass hook.
So, please. So, I had to start with the first single, which was called Award Tour. You know, I thought it was a good first single. It set off the album nicely to let you know what was going to come. But that's definitely one of my favorite sample flips from the album Midnight Marauders to start it off. A classic.
Classic example of a whack break.
Please.
I'm going to go backwards. You know, I'm going to start with the Tribe Called Quest sample Grail. Brother Jack McDuff. Moon rapping.
Okay.
This song, this album, the song Obligato, is what Q-Tip sampled to provide the bass and the illness that is my second favorite posse cut and the second best posse cut of all time. The first being The Symphony by Marlon Morrow. The second being The Scenario. And woo! Leaders featuring the leaders of the new school, Busta Rhymes with the Dungeon Dragon flow, and then the way he freaked the Jimi Hendrix drums on here, and the video.
Video
Spike
was dope.
Lee produced.
It was a dope video. It was a dope video.
Even Bo knows this. Bo knows that.
And did you know there's like
Midnight Marauders?
did you know there's like
Scenario is fat.
But did you know that there was like over 4 different versions of Scenario?
Yes, I actually had
That
two.
they did the song over and over with different people.
And they had different beats too. I'm glad they stuck with this one.
Uh-huh.
But, and the companion to this had to come with this for the remix. Kool and the Gang, Music is the Message. For this one, they sampled Soul Vibrations along with the drums from The Emotions' Blind Alley and a few vocal shouts out from Ohio Players' Ecstasy. And they created...
That was dope. A dope remix.
Then they set it off with the Rest in Peace Kid Hood. Without him, that song wouldn't have been what it was. He has the best verse I mean, Busta came with a cool little cleanup. Kid Hood, best verse on the whole song. Best posthumous verse ever.
Wow.
Next to Biggie.
Okay, I would say wow. Pac and Big don't have no posthumous verses?
Not that's an influential like this. You know, that's not hyperbole. That's the real deal. Holyfield. But, you know, those two, that the Scenario and the Scenario remix, those are like the second best posse cuts ever and my favorite.
No, those were dope. Those were dope. And as a side note, just want to real quick, as I said, a Award Tour. This is the drums that Q-Tip used on a Award Tour by the Suns. Banging drum break, right?
Yes, sir. Beatnuts freaked it first, I believe.
They did.
You know, what's funny is that a lot of the, you know, between Tribe and Beatnuts, I mean, the Beatnuts were part of the Native Tongue.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of weird to figure out which place the Beatnuts and the Black Sheep have in the Native Tongues. Like,
right.
Both were supposed to be like the more hardcore cousins.
Yeah.
You know? But you'll see a lot of similar sample play between the groups. Like, they'll all may use a sample, but they'll use it differently. And I kind of like how they do that.
No doubt. Well, if you ever in a record store, the rock section, pick this up, right, B-Dub?
It's an easy dollar find anywhere you
know
go.
What I'm saying?
You pay more than $1, you got robbed.
Yeah, dope drum break. The song is Boom Boom Chop, and dope drums that everybody done freaked, even on Snoop Doggy Style album.
Yeah.
And then as an aside note, he used a bass line for Award Tour, which was Jade,
Don't Walk This Way.
Away.
Now that was the only redeeming part of the song, that bass line.
You know what I'm saying?
But man,
that was dope that he did that. But let me go to another song I love a lot on this album, Midnight Marauders, and that is a song called "We Can Get Down, We Can Get Down." We can get down, we can get down.
You see how he's trying to antagonize me?
And they sampled my man, Bill Cosby. Jello Pudding Pops. The Cosby Show.
On Low End Theory, what was the interlude? Was that Steve Arrington? Or was that all?
No. I mean, Men Marauders. Men Marauders used Cal J.
They didn't have that in.
No, there was no interludes in Low End Theory.
God damn, I'm getting old.
You know what I'm saying? But Bill Cosby, though, they did freak him. You know, I mean, pause. But and you know, Bill going through a lot of stuff right now. So, but Bill Cosby didn't just do comedy. A lot of people don't know this. He would also do some musical albums too, as like some type of creative outlet. I don't know what he was on because he wasn't like an ill musician.
Well, his comedies were his music albums had comedic input to them, but this one
didn't.
Was a tribute to Martin Luther King.
Okay.
You know, because Martin's funeral
was
his ode to the funeral procession of Martin Luther King.
Right.
That was his
Right. As you can see, you got a picture of your man Bill. Heathcliff Huxtable himself playing the piano or the organ. You know what I'm saying? It's a really the album's actually pretty dope. It's almost like a psych funk album almost in a lot of ways. And this album is called Bill Cosby Presents Badfoot Brown and the Bunyan Bradford's Funeral Marching Band. You know, long titles.
Yeah.
And the song they use is, like he said, Martin's Funeral, and it's the main loop for that they used on We Can Get Down. And I thought it was a really dope song on that album, and I really like that a lot. Midnight Marauders, another banger. What you got?
I got Grant Green Alive.
Ooh, that's nice.
But Down Here on the Ground.
That's nice. That was a banging cut.
Yeah. What's that?
Vibes and stuff. But Stone is the Way of the Walk. Cypress Hill used it too.
They did.
I like Tribe's better though. No disrespect, Muggs, but I like Tribe's better.
Tribe's version had a more emotional impact. You know, because of their subject matter, they were shouting out some of the deceased people. It had a more somber feel to it. But his use of Down Here on the Ground, man, this was a perfect record to close the record out with, you know.
Well, side A. It was side A.
It was side A?
Yeah, the last song on side A.
Yeah, perfect way to close the song out on side A. Grant Green, Alive.
Dope. dope. A lot of people sound like that record too, but I like Tribes, like you said, the best too. Alright, man. Let me take it to this right here, man. Another single. You know what I mean? Because you got to come with the singles. And this right here, I mentioned this in one of my other episodes with my Q-Tip combo. But this is Ronnie Foster. Album's called The Two-Headed Freak. And this is the main loop that they got for a song called Electric Relaxation. Dope record. The bass line and the main loop that they rap on. Real sick the way Tip freaked this. And then, once again, for the chorus, you got to add a sound. That's how it was in the 90s. Right here, you got Ramsey Lewis, Funky Serenity. This is the sound that Q-Tip put on the chorus for Electric Relaxation.
And the intro, right?
And the intro. Yes, sir. You're right about that. And the song's called Dreams. And they also used the clip after that. They used it for a 1-2-1-2 featuring Busta Rhymes, but that was a later Tribe Called Quest song.
Yeah.
But
now I will say I did like that song. I couldn't front on that one. If they had came out that one first, maybe I might have felt different about the record.
Not to mention, since we talk about drums, your man Q-Tip used the Brethren drums, which we mentioned on another episode of Everything OG. The Brethren drums, which is a big drum break in the 90s. You know that. And,
if you can, to the first person who can guess is what the theme is, the underlying theme is to tie all these records in the background to us. Scoot back so you can get a little better view, you know, and how they're all tribe related. We'll figure out some kind of prize to give you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Electric Relaxation was a really incredible record. Like you said, it was a dope single, and it just really set it off nice. I had never heard somebody come out with a melodic, such a melodic sample like that at that time. You know what I'm saying? At that time, because you had, like you said, Wu-Tang was real hardcore. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to match with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and this was like, they had Cream.
I mean, you had
Cream.
You had Doggy Style.
They had
A
Cream.
bunch of melody on Doggy Style.
Yeah, but this was a jazzy melody though. This was jazzy. Dum, 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 dum,
Had Diamond D.
It wasn't quite as smooth as I love Diamond D, but it wasn't quite smooth. But yeah, this was amazing. And like I said, with the Ramsey Lewis on the chorus and the Brethren drums, and he looped the Brethren drums, didn't chop them. I thought that was really dope for Q-Tip, and Ali to handle that like that, and definitely one of the better.
Ali didn't do nothing.
Well, we don't know. It's always been rumored that they both did production, even though Tip did majority
Tip did
of
it all. He just shouted his mans out them so they can get some play too. But
it does say produced by Tribe Called Quest.
yeah, but he got when an interview says he was the Tribe Called Quest, but he didn't want the kudos to himself because he was trying to promote his group. So that's kind of like the Pharrell and Chad. Produced by Nerd, but Chad is the one that's really getting busy and shit with the
Pharrell's
keys.
not.
He's the drum guy. He might put a boom cat.
Nah, Pharrell plays.
And he ain't playing the tight shit that you hear in the Nerd stuff. That's
maybe the Nerd album, but the solo Neptune stuff.
He's getting Chad to do it. He's just putting his name on it.
Well, I've always heard the reverse of that.
Allegedly.
Okay, I've heard the reverse, but okay. Anyway,
Can we move on?
Yes, sir. Pick these up if you see them in a local
Enough
record
of
shop.
Midnight Marauders. Back to the foundation. We're gonna go into the first single. Check the Rhyme. With the most that video was awesome. How they just used that was the reinvention of A Tribe Called Quest. They had the article in the source. They had the visuals from the video. They were in Queens on top of the car wash, kicking it. The way they freaked Minnie Riperton's Adventure in Paradise, Baby This Love I Have, and then how they freaked the Average White Band, Love Your Life. Now, I'm not sure if they used this version or the live version of Love Your Life.
It's a debate.
Either way, they killed it.
Yes, sir.
A little Grover Washington on the drums never hurt.
Killed that.
And this one, this was hip hop at its finest.
I agree.
This was a high degree. This was production, hip hop production at a next level. The way he just, the way he took two disparate samples and put them together and made it work and fit. You got to give Q-Tip his props. Knowing what sounds good, the horns, the bass line.
Nah, it was amazing.
Amazing.
And it was funny because like that Minnie Riperton record and the Average White record is like Average White Band record are like really easy records to find.
Yeah.
And no one had flipped them before that.
But they're easy to find now. But were they easy to find in the 90s? Well, they weren't hard to find.
I would think so.
They weren't hard to
I
find.
would think they were easy to find.
Yeah, as I think about it, it wasn't hard.
I mean, he kind of pulled like he kind of pulled a Primo before Primo. I mean, because Primo would always known for flipping records that you might have in your collection that you forgot about.
Well, you're thinking about it now as we look back at it now, because back then everybody didn't have those records back then. We were.
Really?
You gotta think we were just beginning digging.
Mm-hmm.
Those records maybe your parents had, but you didn't know what they were. It's now that we look back in hindsight and like, oh, those are easy records to find because they were everywhere, but we didn't realize how funky they were back then until we listened to them.
Okay. I go along with that.
Yeah, because it's kind of...
Well, tell you what, just since we're going along with that theme, I'm going to stick with your theme, and Minnie Riperton right here. Q-Tip loved this woman because he kept going back to her. And this one, like he said, he flipped it for Check the Rhyme, but then he came back to it on Midnight Marauders. And he flipped it for the song on there called Lyrics to Go.
I will say Lyrics to Go. I can't front on Lyrics to Go. Lyrics to Go was a good one.
And Inside My Love was the name of the track he flipped, and it was a song. It was a little clip that he flipped like towards the end of the song, where she's just basically keeping that note for a very long time.
Yeah.
Minnie could do that, and she kept it for like 2 minutes. It seemed like, and he just sampled that and looped that up with the Fender Rhodes on top of her voice, and it was amazing. And
that's the one with the James Brown in too.
Yep. Once again, he put the James Brown in here with the Minnie. You know what I mean? This is James Brown show is funky down here.
And see, that was what my problem was with Midnight Marauders. It wasn't even. Like, you had moments like that where they took some funky stuff and hardcore and delivered. Like, I can't front on Lyrics to Go. Can't front on Electric Relaxation. It's when they went and did something way off. Like, what's the one with Large Professor on it?
I'm getting to that.
What was the name of that song, though?
That song was called you're killing me. Keep It Rolling.
Keep It Rolling.
Keep It Rolling.
Yeah, that was like elevator music to me.
Well, hey.
It was soft.
We'll get to Large Pro in a second. But James Brown and Minnie together was amazing. And then added with this, for the drum break that Tip chopped up, Clyde McFadden and Mixed Up Cup. And I think Tip might have been the first to use these drums too, by the way.
Pete Rock did.
Pete Rock used these first? For
Yeah.
what? Really?
Yeah, on either Mecca and the Soul Brother or The Main Ingredient.
I don't know. Well, because my main ingredient was 94, but Midnight Marauders was 93. But yeah, he used these drums right here, Mixed Up Cup, banging drums. If you don't have them, scoop them. And Lyrics to Go, another amazing masterpiece by Q-Tip and his boys, Five Dog and Ali, banging track.
For next, I'm going to talk about the song that is Show Business.
Yes,
that
sir.
one was produced by Diamond D, correct?
That was produced by Q-Tip, I believe, and Diamond might have gave him a sample or two in there. They used to trade samples.
Right.
But it was produced by Q-Tip.
I don't have the credits in front of me. I could have swore Diamond D
I don't think he
did that one. But
he might have.
or help co-produce.
I think he co-produced.
Oh no, you know what it is? He was in the studio that day because it had brand new.
Yeah, because like he wasn't supposed to be on the song.
No, because originally Show Business was a song called Georgie Porgy. And
which was an anti-gay song almost.
It was, back then hip hop was like, homophobia in hip hop was rampant. The what do you say? I don't want to say. They didn't have a problem talking bad about people had alternative lifestyles, and some of the lyrics in that song were very incendiary.
The word that's politically correct, you mean?
I don't like that term, politically correct. They were incendiary. And, they were using the F word and gay bashing and things of that nature. And
which is hard to believe. Tribe Called Quest.
Exactly.
A Tribe Called Quest would have a song like that. I mean, I could see maybe Onyx or somebody.
It's not really that hard to see. Because, like, then hip-hop, due to whatever... misogynism was very strong in hip-hop.
That's true.
So why wouldn't it be applied to people who indulge in same-sex relationships? It was the ultra male. You had to be hard. Anything if you weren't hard, you were soft. And that's the image they were trying to fight from their first album. Let me finish.
Okay.
That's the image they were trying to fight from their first album. And the second one, like, okay, you know, we came with the less dashikis, less boots and braids. Let's throw in a New Balance and the backwards hat and the Helly Hansons and the Levi's and the North Faces and get a little rougher looking. Because you remember around that time, that's when Q-Tip got into a Rex and Effects and caught the eye jammy and had to wear the glasses after that. Because they, you know, but anyway, back to the song. They couldn't release that version.
No, Jive was not going to let them put that out.
You know, and they had featured Brand Nubian on it.
And Grand Puba made that version. He came to the studio for that version.
Grand Puba was on that one. However, he didn't want to redo his verse. So, Lord Jamar, Sadat X, they redid their verses. And in place of Puba, they got Diamond D. And in that sample, the main bass line is from Keep On Steppin' by the Fatback Band. And it's a song called Wicky Wacky. One of the sound effects from that song is FERRANTE from the FERRANTE and TEICHER album Midnight Cowboy. And the drums, I believe, are a combination of the Jam and Funk the President. And
that was dope. That was dope. And actually, that was the introduction to Diamond D.
Was it?
Yeah. Without that, I mean, well, besides he was in a group called, you know, the Ultra Force or something. But before that, no one heard those records though. You know, Tribe Called Quest had a name. So they basically introduced Diamond D, you know, to the world. You know what I'm saying? And he came out with he had a deal after that.
Okay.
He got a deal. Shout out to Diamond D though. Keep it moving right along to my man. To Midnight Marauders. Another dope record on this album. Midnight. The Night Is On My Mind. Remember that?
That was decent.
That was dope. And this is what they used for that. George Duke, my man George Duke in the house, plays the keyboards. You know George Duke. And this album right here, Faces and Reflection, is a dope jazz album, by the way. But the song they using here is called North Beach. And what's crazy about it is Q-Tip at the time when he did his beats, he is known to use an EPS keyboard.
Oh, that's what he was using?
Yeah, which is the people that made the ASR 10. And so, you know, I think Havoc was using it. And I believe RZA too.
RZA used the ASR.
Okay.
He might have started off on
EPS though, right?
EPS.
And
ASR.
And yeah, so since you know it's a keyboard, you can actually play stuff. You know what I mean? So he would sample the note, and he actually played, even though it's the notes that's on. It's different octaves when you hear it on the Tribe album. So he's basically playing different keys with the sample.
Okay.
To make it, you know what I'm saying, to make that loop. And dope record. North Beach is what he used, and he put this on top of it, the Albino Gorilla for the chorus.
Okay.
And that's the sounds you hear on the chorus, Albino Gorilla. Really, really dope sound. It's a dope Albino Gorilla. That's a pretty funky album, actually.
It is. It's like a lot of Motown covers.
Yeah, it's dope.
You know.
So Midnight is on my mind. One of my favorite songs on the album. He put the Brethren drums on it, underneath it, and he chopped it this time. Didn't loop them. And dope record right here. Midnight, Albino Gorilla, George Duke, Faces and Reflection from Midnight is on Wine, and I believe Raphael Sadiq played the bass line in that song.
Okay.
Man. Chuck Jackson's.
Now, this one right here. Butter. Matter of fact, I want to get to the God fight, Bugging Out. Because that was when Fife
Butter was a solo song, right?
Yeah. But Bugging Out's when... I'll do the video, because in the video they started bugging out, then they went to Butter, right? Yeah, so we'll do it like that. We'll do a two-piece. The way he stepped out on Bugging Out, though, it was like, yo, whatever kind of preconception you had about Fife on the first album, he erased it. Low End Theory was where Fife earned his stripes. And that is Jack DeJohnette's directions. And the song was New Rags. And rest in peace to Fife. You were a real one for that. And Butter, which was I liked Butter. You know, it was a cool little look into people inside of high school and the girls, and I think everybody could relate to that. That was the thing. they were relatable.
Yeah.
Even if you were a hard rock or whatever, you still felt something about Tribe Called Quest you could relate to and understand. And
the Butter was dope.
Butter was dope, you know. You had Gary BARTZ, the Shadow Do, which took me a while to get this one. But the way they freaked this on the hook was lovely. And then the bass and the keys was Weather Report, Mr. Gone.
The main sample.
And you know,
dope.
Those two joints.
Weather Report, dope. Fusion jazz band.
Yes.
Really
some heavy hitters on there.
Wayne
Shorter
is in the group too. Yeah. Moving right along, like you say, what I got next is my man Jack Wilkins.
Whose copy is that?
And this is this this actually happens to be my man Building Black's copy. I could not find my copy.
Yeah.
So I had to go ahead and use his for a minute. But Jack Wilkins Windows, he does a version of Red Clay. And Q-Tip freaked this on Midnight Marauders for a song called Hey Sucker Nigga, Whoever You Are. And by the way, he got that Hey Sucker Nigga sample from this record right here called Wild Style.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And this is a classic hip hop, one of the first, maybe the first hip hop movie. You know, that I've seen. I mean, this is before Beat Street and all that. Breaking.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to remember.
Shout out to Shabadoo.
I'm trying to remember which one I saw first. I don't think I didn't see Wild Style till later on.
I didn't see it first, but it came out first.
Yeah. Because I think I saw Breaking or first, and then B Street, and then
Crush Groove.
Once we got cable, you know, after Crush Groove, and then I saw Wild Style on USA, Friday night movies. Yeah, Wild Style came out first, and MC Battle is the cut on here where they go, Hey Sucker Nigga, Whoever You Are. And then Q-Tip put this with it, which is the Cold Blood drums. And Cold Blood was a band from the Bay that was like a funk, basically a funk band. Funk rock band, blues. Okay, blues rock. I give you that. But they were bluesy with some funk twists. And there you go. It was like a blues. Like I give you that blues rock band with funky twists to it. And the lead singer Lydia Pence was a nice vocalist. She reminded me of Janis Joplin.
Yeah, real dope singer and very underrated. But they do a version of Bill Withers' "Kissing My Love" on here. And anybody knows Bill Withers' "Kissing My Love," you know it's a fat drum break at the beginning of that song by Bill Withers. So whenever you see a "Kissing My Love" cover, most likely it's going to be a drum break on it. Yeah. So they kept in line with tradition, and Cold Blood has a drum break to their version of "Kissing My Love," and these are the drums that Q-Tip chopped up for Hey Sucker Nigga. So scoop this up when you go to a record store, scoop this up in the hip hop section, and then go to the jazz section and scoop this up, but you ain't gonna find this that easy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But still scoop it up when you see it though. It's a classic, right? So Sucker Nigga is one of my favorite songs on Midnight Marauders album. How many times are you gonna say nigga? Like you just keep saying it. Just the name of the song is called Sucker Nigga. Just say sucker N-word or something. We got other people watching this. And one of my favorite songs on the album, and I thought that was a standout highlight from that album. What you got next, Young Building Block? It started like sound like a oo-wop as you was spraying it. Yeah. The What was cool. It was almost like a throwaway song on there, but I was more excited to find it on this Paul Humphrey album. You know, it's one of those times I just put the album on and just let it play, and then it came on. It was like, oh, wow, that's dope. You know, not much to say about it. It was like almost like I said, quick throwaway. It was a playful throwaway, you know, but playful throwaway. Well, I mean, it's keeping in tune with that throwaway type thing. It's not a throwaway, but if you listen to Midnight Marauders, the first thing you hear on there is CADER. And this is where Tribe got the interludes from throughout the whole album. So, you know, you hear this Tribe Quest album called Midnight Marauders. You hear CADER Aquarius, his version of Aquarius from the Hair Goldman Dermot stuff. And this album's called The Prophet by CADER. And throughout the whole album, you hear interludes, and it's all CADER. So this is where they got that from, speaking of interludes or small cuts. Next, we have Excursions. Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Bahama. And the song they sampled was a Chant for Boo, I believe. And that's the bass line and the main riff on the first song. And then when you had the guy talking about time is running out, TikTok. Last Poets, This Is Madness.
and the drums SOB.
Yeah, dope. That was a way to start off the album.
Yeah, I think then he started rhyming a cappella kind of first, just
first,
that,
and then the drums.
and then
dropped.
the drums.
Yeah.
I like that. Like I think a lot of the acts out today do that. Like they let the drums go and they just rhyme over it. You know, I think it gives a little bit more weight to the words. But
and speaking of, I like how you brought up earlier about beating up some black sheep. I would notice that if you was down in the native tongues, they would share drums a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, because the SOB is also on the Black Sheep first album.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, like, they kind of, like, did that a lot.
Yeah, they definitely did.
You know, I guess that's what they did. but next up for me is the closeout cut from Midnight Marauders. The one that, you know, closed it out was this record right here. David T. Walker, I was called On a Love. And actually, it's the title cut that they sample, and it's the little guitar clips that you hear throughout the song. And then for the hook, they used Jimmy McGriff, the horns throughout the hook. And the song's called Dig on It, on this album called Soul Sugar by Jimmy McGriff. And that song called, where they used this on, the very last song on the Marauders album is called God Lives Through. And it's a really dope song. I thought that Fife verse on there was ill. And he really went in, and they really killed it. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they used the Christine McVie drums for that and just chopped them up. So if you don't know about the Christine McVie drums, go out and scoop those too. But yeah, scoop those. But yeah, right here. David T. Walker and Jimmy McGriff for God Lives Through. The closeout cut on Midnight Marauders. What you got,
Thankfully,
man?
an end to a whack album. Yo, but since we were talking about the jazz and the Tribe Called Quest image, they used this album, Friday the 13th, by Cook County. Friday the 13th at the Cook County Jail. It was a concert featuring Jimmy McGriff, Lucky Thompson, George Freeman, and O'Donnell Levy. And they used the song Green Dolphin Street. And that with the Don't Change Your Love drums by the Five Stair Steps and QB was a masterpiece. You know.
But do you know the debate about that song and the production of that song, the beat of that song?
What's the debate?
Well, not so much the debate, but the
controversy.
The controversy.
That he stole that from
Pete Rock.
Pete Rock. You know,
Pete Rock claims that Q-Tip came over his house and he had that beat playing, you know, on his drum machine while, you know, when he came down the stairs and chilled in the basement chilling with Pete Rock. That beat was playing on his drum machine.
Yeah.
And the record was sitting right in front of the drum machine.
Well, no, Q-Tip asked him what records he used, and he told him the records.
Oh, right.
And Q-Tip, being a digger that he is, got the records.
Got the record.
And after, you know, hearing it, he knew how to remake, so he recreated it, and it came out, and there was no Pete Rock credit on there.
No, but he does say at the very end of the song, Pete Rock for the beat.
Does he say it on there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
At the very end of the song, he says Pete Rock for the beat.
Because I thought later Pete had to confront him, and
he did confront him
and had to get credit.
Well, he never got credit. He never got credit or anything like that.
I could have sworn he said he got credit retroactively for it.
Maybe I've never heard that part, but I know that Pete Rock has said in many interviews that he got the tips that got the idea from him, and I remember even like when that, like you said, the video for We Got the Jazz came out. Pete Rock Seal Smooth was on Rap City on BET, and it was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to a world premiere. Tribe Called Quest, new video. We Got the Jazz." And Pete Rock was like, "Hey, that's me." So I don't know, but that is the controversy over that beat, though. But it's a dope beat, regardless.
It's a dope beat, and they did their thing on it. Shout out to both.
Well, speaking of dope beats, I wasn't gonna bring this one up, but this is actually Michael Ubriniak right here, and this is actually the first song on the Midnight Marauders album. The song's called "Stir It Up," and it's dope. So they sampled a song here called "Ikim," and it's basically all the little string like guitars and violins and stuff like that you hear. musically, and this is one of the cuts that it was a banger on the album, but they put it with some horns from a jazz artist called Woody Shaw. I actually don't have the Woody Shaw album, but but this Michael Greeniac is a dope record, and it's a dope sample that they used on that song. Stir It Up. Yes, sir.
Verses from the Abstract.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool song.
Busta Rhymes is in effect.
Yeah. It was mellow.
I
I kind of felt it was like a little fillerish though. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like all excited on that, but you know, that song, the main sample came from HEATWAVE, Star of the Story, and I believe they had Ron Carter playing bass on that live.
They did,
and they had the drums from Joe Farrell up above this rock.
Yep,
rocking on it.
I think they were the first to use that. Well, maybe once again, Black Sheep used the drums for Joe Farrell drums for they first single.
In the meantime, I tried to hawk.
And also the first I heard you got the fever for the flavor. So once again, they share drums.
Also, I'm gonna go out and say this: all the undiscovered bass lines and unknown bass lines that they used on this album, I'm gonna say they came from Ron Carter. You know, because he did play on the album, and they did sample his playing. And unless Q-Tip comes and say, "Oh, I sampled this," that's my belief.
Well, I'm gonna close it out with this right here, and because Tricord Quest, everybody knows, like you said, Q-Tip is the main dude that does a lot of the beats for Tricord Quest. But every album they would have like a guest producer on there. You know, either it was Skeff Anselm or
props too.
Or whatever the case. But this album, Midnight Marauders, it had Large Professor from Main Source do a track, and he used this Roy Ayers album right here. And the song's called Keep It Rolling, and actually Large Professor rapped on that song too. And you remember by the album when I drop it. He never came out with the album. But anyway, yeah, this is a dope song that they used on here.
I was so disappointed.
Feel like song. Making Love is the track. That's a very famous song, you know that.
So disappointed.
And
with that song.
You know,
you had Large Professor.
I love you. You
and that's
love
all
me.
they came out. That's all he came up with. Was that?
Hey,
that record. That song was why I said it sounds like elevator music. That song was whack. I'm sorry, Large Pro.
So you dissing Roy Ayers then, huh?
I ain't dissing Roy Ayers. I'm dissing the person that sampled that, Roy Ayers. The song by itself is a good song. The way they put it together, come on, man. You couldn't have gave him no mad scientist.
If you see this record in the Roy Ayers section at your record store, please pick it up. It's called Change Up the Groove, and this is Tricord Quest Keep It Rolling from the Midnight Marauders album. You got one left? That's a classic. A
classic example of a date rape.
Yeah, that was dope.
Cannonball Adderley and the Black Messiah. The song that he sampled on here.
I forgot what song it was too. I think it's Eye in the Cosmos though.
But you know, here's a lovely gatefold in the inside. You know, but Date Rape. This is the album that he got that sample from.
Amazing.
You know, very good Cannonball. You really can't go wrong with Cannonball from the late '60s and the early '70s. With him, David Axelrod produced. He gets busy.
I think Tips played the bass line on that too.
You think so?
Song, yeah.
And I'll go ahead and give a quick shout out to Funkadelic.
George Clinton.
You know, they sampled this from Tales of Kid Funkadelic. They sampled this from Let's Take It to the People. For the city, Everything's Fair. And that was a funky. They kind of stepped out of the jazz and gave you a little preview what they were going to do with Midnight Marauders. But, you know, overall, it was a dope song.
Heard up.
So we went through what we went through as for our arguments for the respective albums.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think you at the audience, please, you know, make your decisions. I mean,
I will say this. I will say they had the most eclectic and sought after samples on Midnight Marauder. I will say that. But I will say for Low End Theory, they used the most hip hop hardest sounding samples of the time.
Right.
You know, and then their engineering on the low end theory was what
dope. Was dope too.
Made it, and you kind of lacked that on the Midnight Marauders. It didn't have that low end that was Jeep. When you had like a real good system that rattled and everything, and had the bass in it properly tuned and engineered, you got more of a appreciation of what they did with low end theory. Because before hip hop was, you know, the engineers kind of treated hip hop kind of like whatever, you know. They took the bass out of it and all this.
Well, Bob Power, man, he's a dope engineer, at least for that time.
Yeah, well, he's dope now, too. You can't take him away. A lot of people have caught up to what he's done.
Yeah.
But he's still, you know, he was so instrumental in Tribe's sound that people bid him.
Yeah.
Like the Roots. They came later and took Bob Power and bid him. You know, I would say De La might have had him first. Or whatever.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Because actually, Bob Power filled in. He wasn't supposed to be on Tribe Session. He was filling in for somebody else, and then they just liked the vibe working with him and kept him.
I did not know that.
You know, and then he
dope.
just elevated.
That's dope. But well, hey, listen. It's like he said in the beginning and intro. It's one of the biggest debates, if not the biggest debate in hip hop. That was definitely one of the biggest debates. Low End Theory versus Midnight Marauders is like classic, and we're gonna keep the debate rolling out there in the in the atmosphere.
But you know what? It just boils down to this: what do you like best?
Yeah.
Your taste of music. You know,
Yeah.
as long as you're enjoying it, enjoying them. Hey man, I ain't got no qualms with you.
Word up. So once again, my name is Deviant the Digger, Mr. Everything OG.
And I'm the B Double Building Block,
Yes, sir.
and we thank you again for tuning in.
Peace out.
Peace.
Let's see here.
Yo, let me ask you a question. Do you have the Steve Arrington?
I never seen him.
Okay.
Well,
That was the intro. I mean interlude, right? The music for the
No,
interlude.
this is the interlude.
What was the music for? That was the Keep It Rolling, Betty Biden. Right?
Keep it rolling. Was right here.
Okay, what was Betty Biden then?
Betty Biden was the Steve Arrington. That was the
Yeah.
Modern Rock Party.